Hi, it's Laurie Dobson, and I am not pleased with Bernie right now. And I just got a message from the campaign saying that they wanted to get my opinion on things before the debate. And I thought, wow, okay, I have tried to get some input into the campaign for a long time now because I have been very involved in politics and I've been a Bernie supporter. I've done a ton of things for him. And but as a white older woman, I have not found that there's actually been a role for me in the campaign as any kind of advice giver. So I've taken to writing columns and doing videos, but in addition to other things to support the campaign actively with the GOTV. So when I went to it and started filling it out, I just immediately saw that it was just a naked appeal for money. It was a cynical move to try to involve me in the campaign at this point. It wasn't legitimate. And that has been my beef all along with Bernie, that he's decided to not only focus on the kids pretty exclusively, thinking that was his market audience, but he's actively left out talking or involving himself with people that are my age, liberal/progressive. I'm very progressive. But his advisors are, men. He's got some celebrities and women, a couple, but his campaign press people, everybody on the bus that travels with him, it's all the kids. And all the people running different things. And it's been that way. The last campaign was the same way. So now it has infuriated me when when he was talking to people saying that the kids didn't turn out to the extent that they should have. And I think that I think he's putting an awful lot on the kids and not being honest with what the results of the elections have shown so far. And I've been very busy showing in Maine how there was active voter fraud by not having enough ballots. I was on Tom Hartman. I've put it out on a lot of different blogs, thiscan'tbehappening.net, and it's gone on Down with Tyranny. Other people are looking into it, and I've given them my information. I know it's happened at other places. It was the first time we had a primary in 20 years, so they've used down ballot primaries to determine the threshold of ballots that they would allow everybody. And on our island, they gave us 9 when we should have had 48 ballots to cover Democrats and undeclared, just to have enough. So, and they ran out right when I came up there. So they had to call the Secretary of State's office and got through. They stopped answering their phone pretty much after I got there at 5:30, 6 o'clock. It was just a madness. It was chaos. And it's not just the fact that there's been election fraud, outright voter theft, election rigging. People have every right to feel that they did come, the kids did turn out, but who was there to recognize that they had voted? Was there poll watching? I mean, I think there was, but was the campaign involved in that? Was the campaign there, to say, okay, the kids didn't turn out to the extent we thought? Well, show some numbers, prove that. I heard in Texas there were hundreds of election places that were closed. That people were online for 7 hours, and some people were either past midnight. And then Minnesota had a primary after having had caucuses as well. This classic. It's so much easier to just turn voters away rather than have to mess with machines, election machines. And I just think maybe that was done as well. But given the fact that there was so much massive DNC involvement that Bernie never really took account for last time, just like Gore and Kerry, he pretty much wimped out on the calling it what it is and requiring accountability. And there are people that have done that. Jill Stein has done it on his behalf. Why should it be Jill Stein's job to help Bernie adequately and honestly track his the votes of the people who turned out for him. He's responsible to make sure every vote is counted and every vote really truly matters. It's not every dollar that matters, it's every vote. And I'm furious with him, blaming the kids. And then the other thing is, how can the kids be responsible for the relentless mass media onslaught against Bernie? I mean, I was there at MSNBC Studios in Manchester. I was actually in Morning Joe, and it was one person after another, after another, after another. It's just their attempt to massacre him. And Bernie, you can't blame the kids for seeing that. And then the other thing is, you don't talk to their older generation. And I listened to somebody on Tom Hartman, a woman who was saying that her mother said to her, I know how you feel about his issues, but it's got to be, can he do it? Can he actually get it to happen? Because he's going to have to talk to people in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. The reality is he's also going to have to talk to people in a whole big segment of the population. He is pretty much left to Elizabeth Warren, the Warren women. What is he doing with them? I mean, there is no active discussion with the Warren camp. I mean, yeah, maybe her, but she's proven to be a complete disappointment to many, many people, many women, not just progressive women, but women who are working with her and thinking of her as their next leader, and who are really focused with women's identity issues and gender equality issues. I am, but that's not my main issue. Is these endless wars, regime change wars, and I think that Tulsi Gabbard has done a much better job talking about that sort of thing. Being willing to be honest about the wars, being willing to be honest about the DNC's collusion with this idea of Russiagate, cramming that down people's throats instead of saying, no, there was election rigging involved in my campaign results last time. So not being able to come on a solid footing of honesty from the last campaign is carried over. And so the result is, here we are. I know he's Jewish, but I mean, I see it as, we've been following him to this 2 crucifixions now. And he's just not, he says he's pressing on, but for what? And what is he saying? The other thing is, sometimes I just feel insulted. I'm just going to go for it here. I know the Bernie platform. I've listened to almost every rally, all the way through. I've spent some serious time listening to how he's developed his speech to people, and it has hardly digressed at all. You're talking about it's almost as though it's just completely the same. It has been completely the same. And he goes into this rote memorization of it. And I wonder, I've heard the guy go off script, and I think he does pretty well. But why isn't he willing to do that? I know he's trying to hedge his bets and be careful, but the carefulness should be out the window at this point. It should be over at this point. He's got to be willing to say things. Look at the gaffes coming out of Joe Biden's mouth. And I know he's the candidate that they're all wrapping around, et cetera, et cetera. But it'd be so refreshing if Bernie just stopped being like a robot about his rhetoric and actually spoke to issues directly. Just drop the script and reach out to people and show them that you care, not just to broadcast your single issues, your single issue, identity issues. That's the killer. We know what the things are that matter in the Progressive Party now. Thank you, Bernie, for making it clear. I mean, you did a yeoman's job doing that, but the time now is to just reach out to the people that need to know that you care about them. I mean, black men and women. I mean, they're black women, and they're identified as women who, as much as I am as a white woman, or women of color, other races, and look, we're all. I'm struggling to be careful here, but the fact is, and I know he's got to be somewhat careful because he's got a lot of anger that's legitimate against the system, and he has to just kind of toe the line here a little bit. But maybe people would cut him some slack if he really dropped the mask and showed the feeling. showed the rage, showed the caring and the compassion that he said he wanted to be representing him. Susan Sarandon said something in Durham, North Carolina, for him on his behalf, and she was quoting Leonard Cohen, and it was about ring the bells, and it's ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's where the light comes in. We have to let Bernie be the crack to Bernie. The light's coming in now. It's sad. It's so upsetting. Things are just the way they are. AOC has a great way of encouraging people to go on, but it's not just about that. It's Bernie has to lead with that and truly be forthcoming. Let the real Bernie get out, and I can't really stomach any more of the rote memorization of script. I just wish it would just drop at this point. And talk to us. We're still out there. There's still a way to engage with people that are upset that you've ignored them this whole entire season, like me. Because your policies and what you care about, and you care about the kids. You care about things I care about. So we're real. We connect. I can connect with you. Just stop ignoring me as a sector of the population because you're trying to focus on, who you think is going to turn out. No, just care about me because I'm part of this country and I share it with you as a human being. And I'm a person trying to elect you, still trying. And I don't think it's the end yet. I think a radical departure from your way of operating as usual needs to happen. So I implore you at the debate, just talk about yourself. You don't have to go after Biden with questions and hound the man like you don't want to do it anyway. So don't try to do what doesn't come naturally, but accept to stretch and be real. Be honest. If you care about people, tell the truth and have fun. That's the best advice I was ever given running for office. And so anyway, maybe you're listening. Who knows? One can only hope.